Hey guys, looks like we are live. I am Steve Cookout Coach, and if you're here because you know that we hit a. Hang on, let me mute this real fast. You know that we hit 2,000 subscribers not long ago, and we're here to give away a grill. Hey, Kent, Kent, can you hear me? If you guys can hear me in the chat, go ahead and drop a one in there so I know that we're all good. Let's see. Hey Keith, thanks for that. Appreciate it, bud. It's YouTube's always an interesting ride, right? It's kind of funny. I came here and you guys can hear me great. Came in here and everybody wants big numbers, but as soon as you start rolling, you realize that it's a grind and you can't skip that grind. So to hit 2,000 was really awesome. I really appreciate all the support I've got, and I hope I'm adding value to people out there. Like I hope that my goal of helping people make better barbecue as part of the community. I hope that's a thing that's happening, and I'm just enjoying doing it, being a part of that. CJ, what's up, brother? We haven't drawn yet. I think the only times I've done a few solo lives, it's been like get in, draw, get out real fast. But I thought tonight, since this is a little bit of a bigger one, maybe we chat for a little while and do the draw here in a few minutes. But if you guys have anything you want to say to me, I realize I don't really do this kind of thing to interact with the community very much. I answer all my comments. If you guys drop me a comment, I'm going to do everything I can to answer that for you. But we never just sit and talk. So, now's a good time if anybody has any questions about, what I do or how I do it or what I want to do. Now's a good time to talk about it. But in the chat, we got 25. That's kind of cool. Got Craig B, Daddy Dutch, Keith Bettag, 1984. Hey, John, how you doing? Isaac C, Cynthia Falcon, Chris Fitzgerald, James Shepard, CJ's here. My Backyard Life, Rob, Joe Perez. This is awesome. Let's see, Rob. I've noticed that YouTubers take a bit to get started with subs, but once you get rolling and do videos with other channels, it will grow fast. Rob, that's a great point, and I don't really think I haven't got to do a video with another channel like I want to do. I've got to meet Rich from Rich's River Smokers, West Virginia, and that was cool. And I'm actually going to run into him again this weekend. But I really want to sit down with some YouTubers this year, if I can, get together, get in the same space, and do some cooking together and create some content together. I really think that'd be cool. Not necessarily for the subs, but just because there's a lot of cool people out here, and I think that'd be really fun to get together and create that content together. Let's see what have we got. We got Bill from Chicken Fried. What's up, brother? Brad's here. Sheerlane Kitchen. If you don't know Sheerlane Kitchen, go over to Instagram, check their stuff out. It's really good. I think they're gonna start making videos pretty soon too, so that'll be cool. Cynthia Falcon, how do you enter? All right, so since we haven't drawn yet, I'm gonna say you still got time, and go over to my channel. Go to the 2,000 subs giveaway video from 2 weeks ago. Go and just drop a comment. We're just gonna do a random comment picker. So head on over to that video and drop a comment right now. We'll give you a little while. I'm meeting Mark from Saw Session. Oh, that's cool, Kent. Kent. I dropped you a line a few weeks ago, just seeing if you were coming out competing anyway, east, because I've still got some openings in my schedule, and I was wondering if I could catch you, but we'll see. How do I like my new char griller offset? Well, let me tell you, I haven't had a whole lot of time to cook on it. I've done, we'll call them 1.5 cooks on it, and both are rib cooks. And the first one, it went okay. I had to fight the fire a little bit. I'm newish to offset cooking, and when you cook on an offset like that char griller or like an Oklahoma Joe Highland, any of the smaller offsets with a smaller firebox, it can get a little tricky. And you'll get a lot of guys who end up running charcoal baskets in it, and that's fine. It helps them to hold even temperatures. And if you're not familiar with manning a fire, you don't know how you're going to man a fire, it's a great option. But if I'm going to run an offset, I want to really run it in the truest sense that I can. And what was happening was my coal, I wasn't being able to build up a good coal bed in it. So what I did was I went and I got a piece of expanded metal and put that on the grate. And this last cook I did, which was not this last weekend, but the weekend before, I did a competition practice rib cook. And those are probably the best competition ribs I've ever made. So we're going to be taking that offset to Hagerstown, Maryland this weekend. And we're going to be running it against 31 other teams. And we're going to see how we come out with it. But so far, I really like it. Let's see. Who else we have here? There's my buddy Chris. We got Gridlin Grandpa in here. Cornelius Bass, or Bass, I guess, depends on how you pronounce that. Chris Fitzgerald. Would like you to see a video or two with Baby Back Maniac, T-Roy, or Harry Sue. Let me tell you, I'd like to see that too. I was actually talking to Justin a few weeks ago, and I told him, I was like, if you have a free schedule and I have the ability to get down to Texas, I'd love to put down some content together. But, everybody's busy. It's tough. Both Justin and I are parents, so you got the family thing. But yeah, him, T-Roy, Harry, it's all just a matter of getting in the right spot, I guess. I'm up here on sort of like a YouTube island where I'm at, so. But we're gonna try to get together with some folks this year. When you're gonna quit your regular job? When they fire me, I think. YouTube's fun, barbecue's fun. It doesn't pay my bills. And as soon as it would start paying my bills, it probably wouldn't be fun anymore. That being said, I am planning on releasing an ebook soon. Sort of a spoiler alert, I guess. So I'm working on an ebook, and it's not a cookbook in the traditional sense. I'm a little bit more of a technical guy, and one of the things that I struggled with a lot when I was learning the barbecue was how to cook to throw a party or entertain with barbecue, especially with limited grills. Nowadays, I have a grill addiction. I have way too many grills in my garage. But when you've only got one or two, how do you cook for multiple people? And so the ebook I'm working on is more of an instruction guide on, say, you want to entertain 10, 20, 30 people. How could you possibly stagger your meats, stagger your cook to cook your main courses and some sides maybe? So it's going to be that. It's going to be a very instruction manual based. If you want to do this, this is how you do it. Give you several options. And these are a few big meats that you cook. If you want to do some smaller meats that aren't going to hold as long necessarily, but the cook time's shorter, then you stagger it into here. And if you want to get sides done at that same time, this is how you do it. I'm sort of hoping that people might respond to that. I'm hoping it'll help some people. I think it will. I think it has that ability. But we'll get that out soon, and we'll see how people like that. I think it'd be neat. Let's see here. I'm seeing people saying hobo. Hobo, if you got in here, what's up, brother? There's my buddy Kenneth. How's it going, man? Do a collab with you once my channel gets going. Hey, hit me up. We'll do it. Dave, how's it going, man? Just going back through here. But yeah. Yeah, Hobo, that's kind of my thought. I think it can be pretty valuable to folks. It used to be, step one, learn how to barbecue. Then I don't know, something magical about barbecue. As soon as you figure out how to do it, you want to share it with everybody. But if you're like me, the first time I was like, all right, let's have several people over. Let's let them try this. Well, then it became, oh, well, I'm going to try to get this pork butt done to eat at 5. When in actuality, I should have been trying to get it done. Who knows? Noon would have been great, and then just let it sit and rest. So it's a big stumbling block. And there's 2 or 3 of those iterations went through before I finally learned how to actually entertain with it. So I think it has some use. Let me know, Dave. We'll get it done. What's up, Dave Pearson? Yeah, Isaac, that's sort of my thing. There are a few pieces of meat that you know you're always going to be able to cook and get a lot of bang for your buck in, and pulled pork sandwiches are one of those for feeding a bunch of people. Pulled chicken is actually another sneaky one that people don't realize. And then once you get those big ones done, if you want to feed people a few bones of ribs, you knock out your bones of ribs and have them set to finish about the time to eat. Or if you want to do some pork belly burn-ins as an appetizer or whatever, that kind of thing. Clarksburg, that's pretty darn close. Oh man. But right now we're getting ready for our first competition of the year. It's going to be in Hagerstown, Maryland. We're going to go out. It's a pretty big one. There's 31 teams, and in the backyard division, it's a big one for the pros. I think there's like 71 pro teams there. So we're trying to get all of our prep out of the way early in the week. So Friday we just hook up and go. How about you guys? What are you guys getting? It's random Monday night, but anybody throw anything on the grill earlier this night or planning something later the week? Hey, Mark, how's it going? Oh, and if you wonder why I'm looking down, I'm trying to keep track of the chat down here on my laptop while I'm talking to you guys up here. St. Louis Ribs. CJ. Now, CJ, is this going to be another St. Louis Ribs on the kettle versus St. Louis Ribs in the foodie? Been noticing a lot of those comparison videos coming out of your channel there. Cast iron burgers. Smoked a turkey yesterday. There you go, Vonky Tonk. A lot of times what I try to do is I try to smoke something big on those weekends, try to get me through the week on it. Haven't grilled in over 3 weeks. That's tough. Been there. Nothing on the grill tonight. Kenneth, I figured you'd be the one. You've always got something going on, just all the time. Seems like you don't sleep. You're just cooking. Too windy at the Jersey Shore. Just dinner. Ain't nothing wrong with that, CJ. Dutch oven lasagna. That sounds pretty good. Gotcha. I'm in love with your Weber Smoky Mountain. Tell you what, Smoky Mountain is a great pit, and we've put it up against some really top-notch expensive stuff, and even without modding it out, no stainless steel door, let it leak like a sieve when it wants to. It's came out and it's thrown down and held its own just fine. You can't knock a Smoky Mountain any day of the week. Yeah, CJ. Funny you mentioned that. I grew up. I didn't grow up barbecuing. We didn't grow up barbecuing at all. We grew up eating a lot of pot roast stuff. So the first time I ever made a brisket, uh, it was a little bit of a disappointment to me because let me rephrase. First time I made a decent brisket. We're not gonna say great brisket, but first time I made a decent one. It was a little disappointing because I was like, well, this is just like a really, really good pot roast with some smoke flavor. So yeah, if you try to do it in the foodie without that smoke, it's just going to be pot roast. Um, going to take on the project of building a 500-gallon smoker. That sounds like something you should document on video because I love those videos. If anybody on YouTube who's ever built a smoker, I've probably watched their video. What's my favorite meat to cook on the Akorn? That's a tough one. Okay, so if it's the Akorn itself, my favorite meat to cook on it is a pork butt because when you get versed enough in how to run the Akorn, it's so set and forget it. I literally set it and I go back to sleep for 4 hours. But yeah, Kenneth, you got it. Favorite meat to cook on the Akorn because it's my favorite meat to cook is ribs because I love ribs. But if we're going to talk about what the Akorn does great, that I love to cook on it because it does great, it's pork butt. How much charcoal do I suggest for a brisket smoke on the Akorn? So, gosh, it really doesn't take that much. I last year I did an efficiency comparison test against the Akorn and the Slow and Sear, and I put like 6 or 7 briquettes in that Akorn, and it ran for like 4 or 5 hours before I shut it down because I was just tired at like 250. So honestly, if you dumped a chimney's full of charcoal in your Akorn, I bet that would run for 12 hours before you'd burn it out. I would seriously put money on that at 275. James Shepard, pulled pork is also my go-to. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, Dad and I have talked about that. I heard they're pretty good. I heard those are solid there, James. But yeah, Silverstone. The charcoal efficiency on that Akorn is ridiculous, and people will tell you that the problem with the Akorn is that it's almost too efficient for its own good. But once you can figure that thing out, and I've done a lot of cooks on the Akorn, I've documented most of them for you guys. Um, Once you figure out how to manage that fire, that thing is just a stud. So the smoke in it, that's a fun one too because the weird thing about kamados is they don't have to move a whole lot of air, so you generally don't get a lot of smoke ring. The smoke flavor is fine. The smoke flavor is definitely there, but you don't get a ton of smoke ring because you just don't move that much air. But it definitely, just like any other cooker, that's not an electric cooker. Electric cookers are slightly different, but any live fire cooker, it has to move air to work. So I do a few different things, and some of these are like competition-y tricks. But the main one is I like to use green wood in it because green wood will produce a little bit more smoke when smoldering. And the last few pork butts I've done have had monster smoke rings on them. So I don't know if it's just the green wood or I've been using Weber charcoal. Just like the rest of us, I bought a ton of it whenever it was on sale there at the end of last year. But the smoke is great on it. And actually, I got different. So if you've been with the channel for a while, you know that I started the channel with the Akorn. The Akorn and the 22-inch kettle, but I did most of the cooks on the Akorn. And I was getting to the point where I was happy with it because it was just like it was an experiment, right? I got the Akorn brand new, said, hey, let's go start cooking with this. And essentially, you follow me through me learning to cook on the Akorn. But I was kind of like, I wonder if I'm missing out on any smoke flavor because I'd never cooked on a kamado before. So then I got the Weber Smoky Mountain. Now I have an offset. And last year we went and we cooked on the Myron Mixon cookers. But really, I got no problems with how much smoke that Akorn puts on meat. It puts a great amount of smoke on it. It does a great job. Do I ever mix briquettes with lump? Sure do. Not on purpose. It's just because I'm lazy. Don't feel like emptying out the smoker. And with the Akorn, there's always leftover. So if I've got leftover lump in there, I'll put briquettes in there. Doesn't really ever seem to cause me any problems. Let's see. Sounds like an efficient cooker. So, Chris, I just got I've never used a blower on the Akorn, but I did get an adapter for my Guru to go on my Akorn this week. So that's part of getting ready for this competition because we do People's Choice. And I don't feel like sitting up with it all night. And it is pretty set and forget it, but the weather's supposed to get kind of bad. So I'm going to hook this up to it and see how I like it. I'll run a test run this week, but I haven't done it yet. If I do it, then we'll definitely make a video about this competition, and I'll let you know how it goes. Hooking the Guru up to the Akorn. Corey, it took me probably, I'd say, now this was with not a whole lot of information, about how to run it. I sort of came up on my own with how to run it, and then later found out a lot of people like to do it the same way. They just didn't document it. So if you follow like certain things, like, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but if you go back and watch my managing a fire in the Akorn, that'll probably cut your learning curve by a couple cooks. But I'm going to say you're going to need at least 5 or 6 cooks under your belt. And the biggest thing is just, watch how it runs. Watch how it likes to use its smoke, or use its air. And once you figure that out, you can figure out the whole thing. Let's see. Do you recommend soaked wood or dry wood for smoking? Yeah, so I don't soak wood. The thing is, if you're ever wondering about it, because we use chunks. If you use chips, it's one thing, and you can, and people do whatever they want. I really have a problem with people doing whatever they want. The reason I don't soak like wood chunks or whatever is, if you're ever wondering about it, drop a wood chunk in a bucket of water and leave it there for however long you want, and then take it and cut it in half, and look how deep the water soaks. It really doesn't soak that far. So that's why I don't do it. I don't know that it's going to give me the kind of smoke I want, anyways. But it's just a lot of hassle for not too much reward that I can see. Either too much or not enough. Yeah. So, Cynthia, the thing that I can find is, it doesn't, as long as I don't have too much coals, I'm okay. But the big thing is, if you can catch that Akorn right when it hits 200 degrees and start shutting your vents down at that point, you'll land about 275, 250. Unless you have like a whole chimney. But if you've got less coals, just make sure you give yourself about an hour to come up to temp, and open everything wide up until it hits 200. And once it hits 200, that's sort of like the point where you need to start checking down. At least that's what I find. Use dry wood. Don't soak. That's an interesting data point, Dave. I've never messed with it, so I didn't know that it made it difficult to control temp. Took me 5 or 6 cooks on my ceramic Akorn to get temp control done. Yeah, my backyard life. That's pretty much what I found on the metal Akorn. And the thing is, and I think it's a little more punishing on the metal if you overshoot than it is on the ceramic, just because there's that oven grade insulation in there. But there were times I can remember actually talking to Kenneth from What's New Barbecue. I'd just be sitting there, what are you doing? Well, I'm going to be waiting for an hour because I'm at 400 degrees and I need to come back down. And there's no great way to do that. So, it is what it is. Have you seen the new Kamado Joe 3? Yeah, so I just so John Setzler's the man to go talk to about that if you want to know really the ins and outs on that. But so the Kamado Joe it's a solid cooker, no doubt about that. The whole hyperbolic or hyperbole or what the slow roller, that's what it's called, slow roller. I haven't seen the literature to know exactly what they're getting at with that. I get that they're trying to like diffuse the smoke, I guess. It's sort of, and people that don't know, the new Kamado Joe Classic 3 has this thing, and it kind of looks like a volcano, right? And it comes up, and then it has a top on the top, sort of like a mushroom cap, so that the smoke travels up the volcano and then sort of like filters out around it. And you use that in place of like a diverter, like a regular ceramic stone diverter, like we would use, I guess. Or I guess technically you could still put it on there, but when I've seen it used, they don't use that. So I guess I don't have a problem with it, and I'm sure they've done a lot of tests, but it seems interesting to me. I know John Setzler's going to do a lot of cooks. I'm sure Pitmaster X will do a lot of cooks with it. So I'm curious to see how it does. I'm sure they've thought about it, but it really seems like a lot of rigmarole right now. But who knows? It might turn out to be a stud. Dallas. What's up, buddy? How's it going? Sean made it. How you doing, bud? So you don't menu? No, I don't menu method the Akorn. Well, no, I sort of do menu method on the Akorn. I don't make a hole in the middle. What I like to do is I get like 12 coals, get them hot in a chimney, just like you would for the minion, and I just start on the back and dump them in there. Uh, and then once you check the air down so much, the fire just doesn't spread as fast as it would in say like WSM because you've got it checked so far down. There's just only so much air. So I don't do a menu method like with the coffee can and stuff like that, but I sort of do the first part with the lighting of it. That's how I get going. You can do it like classic kamado style and set your lighter or your cubes or whatever your starting material is in there and build a little pyramid and then light it off and then knock them down. To me, that just adds an extra like half an hour. So I just light coals, get 8 to 12 coals hot in a chimney, and then dump them in there. What's your favorite non-meat thing to smoke? Potatoes. So if you've never made like, so here's what you do, and this is 100% Malcolm Reed's recipe from How to Barbecue Right, but the abbreviated version of it is you cook yourself some bacon, and you save the bacon grease, and you quarter up some little red potatoes, or actually we cut them into fries to get more like surface area. Um, and you put them on a pan with the bacon grease. Add a little extra olive oil if you need it. Just salt and pepper, and put those in the smoker and let them go, and until they start to get a little fork soft. And then when they get to their point, crumble up the bacon that you cooked, put it in there, throw some Parmesan cheese on top of that, leave it in the smoker, let that Parmesan melt's a weird word for Parmesan, but let it get a little gooey, pull it back out. They're absolutely amazing. What's my go-to seasoning? Well, that's a good question. Because at home, when I when I don't have a whole bunch of fancy stuff in the cabinet, my go-to seasoning is honestly Famous Dave's rib rub for anything pork, and Stubbs chicken rub for chicken, because I can find both of those in pretty much any grocery store around me. Now, when it comes to competition, I run Heath Riles seasonings all day long. They're fantastic. His jalapeno garlic is pretty much my favorite go-to rub. It goes on everything. It's great. Um, but like, there's no retailers around me that sell Heath Riles. I have to order that stuff, and we don't really live in like a barbecue mecca around here. So things like Famous Dave's, things like Stubbs, those are always in my grocery store, and when I need it real quick, it does a fine job. No problem, Sean. We actually haven't drawn yet. We're just answering some questions right now, giving everybody a chance. I'll say it again right now, in case there's somebody in here who hasn't entered but still wants to win the Akorn. If you haven't entered, run over to my channel, go back to the video from 2 weeks ago about the 2,000 subs. Go and drop a comment real quick. That way you'll be entered before we do the drawing. Looks like a vortex of the planet. Chris, it kind of does look. You're talking about the slow roller on the kamado. It does kind of look like a vortex with a plate on top of it, except for the vortex is used to get the heat super high, and with the slow roller, you're going to keep it super low. So again, I get that they're trying to force air and then disperse it, and I guess the idea is probably that they can get even smoke around it. I would assume that's what the idea is, but again, I've literally just watched a video a few hours ago on it and don't quite get it. I need to see somebody cook on it to understand it. Kamado Joe is claiming it creates 2 cyclones for better smoke penetration. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought they were getting at there. Sweet potatoes. Second is corn. I've never actually smoked corn. I cook corn over the grill, but I've never smoked. I'll have to try that. And sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes. Can't figure to use a tofu guy. No, I can't even make a joke about that, Ken. No. Sorry, buddy. I worked at Famous Dave's in high school. That's cool. I've we sort of, I don't know. I feel like sometimes we all get a little, because we do so much barbecuing. We try a whole bunch of different stuff, but at the end of the day, barbecue seasoning is all really really similar across the board, and yeah, it's just a good one. Hi, Coach. Cooked for about 12 briskets so far, and one thing I find is I never seem to have good luck when buying pre-trimmed brisket. Any idea, or did I just do a bad job on those ones? I've only cooked a pre-trimmed brisket once, and it was because I couldn't find a full packer. And I think so. The one that I got had like no fat. It was just a flat. And it had no fat cap. And those briskets aren't. I I sort of had a weird time with it too. And what I've come to the conclusion is those briskets aren't really designed for guys like you and me throwing them on the pit. I think they're designed to be like braised or something a little bit more traditional like that, like inside traditional. So maybe you've had the same experience if you think back on it. Maybe you've had, you know, that pre-trim was a little too liberal with taking that fat cap off. And the other thing was they're always really thin flats whenever I buy the one time I bought pre-trim. But after that first time it happened, it really bothered me. So every time I'm in the store, I look at them and they're always super thin. So that might be what's going on too. Any suggestions for barbecuing for a Game of Thrones watch party? I was thinking of making dragon eggs, something exotic. Any other ideas? You know, I was actually thinking about this today because I I generally try not to make videos to capitalize off events. I got nothing against it. I'm just not that quick on my feet. Like when I think of a video, I usually have like at least a week turnaround before I can actually get to making it. So I just don't bother with it. But I was thinking today, I was like, you know what could you possibly make to go with the Game of Thrones thing? And I think the most. So I like your dragon egg idea. That's a really good idea. Um, but I think if you're going to serve a main protein, I think the one that makes the most sense, that's sort of easy to get, um, is stag. So if you get a hold of some elk, that can be a little tricky, but there are some online retailers. But what's probably easier, depending on where you live and who you know, is you could probably get some venison and do some sweet venison backstrap or some elk steaks. I think that'd be um, a cool take on it. How do you keep your wife from accusing you of having a one-track barbecue mind? Sean, if my wife is watching this right now and she heard me read that, she's laughing because she absolutely. I don't know how to answer that, buddy. I can't fix that. I have a problem, and she knows it. And my wife's a sweet lady who is good about not letting me have it. Considering I do competitions and do YouTube channels and talk about barbecue and watch barbecue all the time, but I'm aware that I'm a flawed man in that sense, and bless her heart, she deals with me. How to stop that from happening? I don't know. You just got to pick the right one, I guess. I don't know. Smoked corn is out of this world. Makes it caramelized. That makes a lot of sense. What you're smoking barbecue? That makes a bunch of sense. We'll have to give that a shot. Joe's Barbecue House. How's it going, buddy? Let's see. You know, it's 9:30. I see Chicken Fried asking if he won. So you know what? Let's go ahead and let's do the drawing. And if you guys want to hang out and talk some more, we will. But we'll go ahead and do our drawing. So I've already got. Let's see here. So let me flip this around for you. I've already got the URL entered in here in the random comment picker that we all use. So I'm just going to go ahead and gather the comments. Looks like we have 170 unique commenters. Let's see if I can do this without making everybody car sick here. All right, so all right, let's see who won here. The winner is Dan. Would love a new Akorn Jr. for my daily driver. So just username is Dan. It must have been early on YouTube there. So Dan, I'm gonna go find that comment and reply to it to let you know you want it in case you're not in here. And what I need you to do is I need you to send me a YouTube private message so I know it's you, and then we'll get you set up with Char, and they'll arrange for you to get the Akorn Jr. So congrats to Dan. I really do appreciate everybody entering in on this. Everybody coming to hang out for a little bit. Um, yeah, that was really cool. I was really happy that I got to. I pitched the idea to Char. I was like, hey, we're about to hit 2,000, and we rep the brand. and I love cooking on my char griller stuff. I was like, would you guys possibly be interested in throwing in for this giveaway? And they were like, sure. What do you have in mind? So I was like, well, I don't know. How about Nick Corn Jr.? I didn't think they'd go for it. And they're like, yeah, let's do that. It's like, all right. So, Dan, congratulations. Glad I was able to do that. Glad you're able to be a part of it. Glad everybody's able to be a part of it. And awesome. So, if you guys still have questions, I can hang around. We can hang out till 10 or till everybody dies down a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty sweet. I'm a little jealous myself. I don't have an Akorn Jr. Yeah, Dave, holler at me. We'll throw something down. Absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to do some more SCA cooks this year, and I don't think I'm going to get to just time. There's just not enough of it ever. But the thing about SCA cooks, I uh, I always love the idea of small form factor grills, and I was gonna set up an Akorn Jr. with some grill grates and go enter a bunch of them, but I just didn't get a chance. There you go. Sean says, great cooker. Crooked Creek Barbecue used one to win this past weekend steak cook-off. There was a cook-off over in Parkersburg down on the river, Parkersburg, West Virginia this week, and the Akorn Jr. took it home. So there you go, Dan. You're getting a good one. If you ever come to the Shenandoah Valley, well, I'm over there a little bit. But yeah, I'll holler at you next time I'm heading that way. Usually I don't know I'm going that way until just a few days before. But yeah, I'll holler at you there, Greg. I already have a junior, but I haven't had a chance to use it. Got it for camping. Yeah, I know several people who are interested in the junior for camping, and I think it'd be great. Um, Depends on how far you're going. Like if you're backpacking in, it's probably not the right grill. But if you're just looking for something to set up, I think it'd be fantastic because it's tiny. It's got the ability to smoke on it, which every grill has the ability to smoke on it. But that one, I'm curious as to how long of a burn you could get out of that thing. Actually, Justin, Baby Back Maniac, did a pork butt comparison video between all of his kamados, and his he threw his Akorn Jr. in the mix, and it was chugging right along with everything else. And I think he actually said the pork butt that came off of it was his favorite from the day. So, any spoilers on upcoming videos? Well, we've got I've got to get it edited, and it's going to be a little bit more sit and talky, but still a lot of actual visual stuff. We're going to do a how to actually run a mock contest to prep for a competition cook. I know that doesn't necessarily speak to everybody, but as someone who enjoys that and was trying to find information out last year, there's not a ton of information on how to get ready for like your first KCBS competition or how to get into that stuff. So I think there's a lot of play there. Um, Justin's video was all of Justin's videos are great. The dude is insane. He's probably my favorite YouTuber. Actually, when I first started YouTube, I sent him my first video. I said, "Hey, take a look at this and let me know what you think and what are the obvious things I need to improve." And he responded back immediately. I got a little starstruck. He's like, "Can I give you a call?" I was like, "Oh man, the Baby Back Maniac's gonna give me a call," and he did. And he's a super cool guy, and we're best friends now. Well, we might not be best friends, but he answers my text when I text him. So I feel like I'm big time like that. How are you feeling about the offset? I've been on the Oklahoma Joe, both Highland and Longhorn for the last 3 years now, and got the mods for it. I'm really liking it so far. I only did a few mods to this one. And essentially it was just seal it up. I got the felt gasket. I've got the lava log gaskets around where I had to put the two-piece firebox together and everything together. And I just got a piece of expanded metal for part of the fire grate, and that really seemed to sure it up. I'm really happy with it. I'm still learning to use it, to be honest with you, just because I don't come from the world of offsets, but I'm really liking it so far. Really liking it. While I've got you guys here, are there any videos you'd like to see in the future? I usually plan out about a month ahead ish, but I'm always open to ideas if anybody has anything they'd like to see. Snagged a classic for $300. That is an awesome deal. That's a fantastic deal on that cooker. Homemade sausage, competition trimming. About to get in some competition trimming tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not real excited about competition trimming. It's not that it's terrible, and you get better at it. Chicken specifically, everything else is fine. Um, it just takes a while. Homemade sausage. We've talked about doing some sausage videos, Sean. We did we did one on how to make some summer sausage back in December, maybe. But it wasn't really how to make it. It was just how to smoke it. So I'm assuming you're talking about how to actually make it devil meat. Yeah, it can be rough. Yeah, but the thing about hey, you too, Scott. Thanks, bud. We we typically score pretty high with our chicken. Um, yeah, we've literally only competed twice with it, but we score pretty high, and I think a lot of it has to do with the prep. So it's a pain in the butt, but you put in your time, and I think it pays off big on the day. Scott, you guys are going to be out there Saturday, right? Or I'm sorry, Sean. Yeah, so I did a turkey video last year on the Akorn. I've done turkey before too. Actually, probably the worst thing I've ever cooked was turkey one time. It was early on in me figuring out barbecue, and it did not turn out well. But we did a turkey right before Thanksgiving last year, and it came out really good on the Akorn. Really good. We kept it super simple. Barbecue community is great. Everyone's always willing to share tips with us backyard cooks. I don't think I ever heard back from a tweet or a YouTube. I don't think I never heard back. Yeah, Chris, that's what everybody I ever ask questions to. They're always helpful uh, all the time, and so that's sort of the way I try to roll here too. Is if somebody asks a question, I've got an answer. Actually, I was just talking to another competitor the other day, and he was talking about how his chicken scores are not where he wants them to be, and it's just like, look, anytime you have a question or you want to bounce something off of me, reach out and I'll shoot you straight, no doubt. Marietta River City Barbecue Competition. Sean, are you guys competing as pro in that? Salmon. Whoo. Salmon or trout. So I haven't cooked trout since I was a kid. Um, and I haven't cooked salmon for a few years either. But we could definitely do that. It's definitely something I don't have a video on. Trout would actually be a really good video because I do it sort of campfire style, even when I'm at home in an oven. Literally wrap it up in foil, copious amounts of butter. But the beautiful thing about trout is those pin bones and everything just come out one shot. Well, dang, Sean, that's a heavy lift. I'm sitting over here complaining about prepping 2 meats for a backyard, and you're going to be over there with 4 meats. That's crazy. My wife wants me to smoke fish for. Yeah. I don't know. I don't. So my wife doesn't eat fish. I eat fish. That's probably why I've never done a video on it. Just because normally when I'm doing a video, it becomes dinner for the rest of the house. So I'll have to do it just for me. But yeah, it's I can definitely do it. It's different. It's definitely different. Not in my wheelhouse. I'll say that. I'll show you how I do it, Greg, I'll bet yours is probably way more killer than mine is, but I'll definitely show you what I do to it. Just I live, we live in West Virginia, so it's not like I'm getting them. Well, trout we get sort of fresh, but then they're just raised in a hatchery, so it's hard to really. I don't know. If we lived closer to the coast, it'd be one thing. Actually, I think there's a guy that's set up now that does come from the Chesapeake Bay, like straight from the bay to sell. So maybe I'll go see what they have, see if we can't come up with something. Costco, yeah. Sadly, I don't have a Costco around here, which is a shame because I hear their meat department is awesome. But we have a Sam's. Sam, it has okay meat. Luckily, I set up a timetable in Excel for competitions. Helps a lot. Yeah, Sean, I've got a similar thing going on. That's you got to timeline everything out. If you, it, yeah, not pro tip, backyard tip. If you want to succeed in competitions, you better have a written program out, whether it's a spreadsheet or literally just something wrote out that you can follow and check boxes. Because if not, in the heat of the moment, you will lose your place. Same says Prime Packers. Yeah, that's the only place I can get Packers around here, Sean. It's I telling you, man. I live in a barbecue desert almost. Second time using my Akorn Junior with grill grates for ribeyes. Will never use another method again. Thanks for the help on setting up charcoal smoke on the. Hey, man, that's awesome. Glad to hear that. Yeah, I think that Akorn Junior with grill grates could be one heck of a steak cooker. Baby blue crab. I have to try that. When I think of chest, like, so I have family that live out in Willards, Maryland. So we'd go out and see them up at Chesapeake. But I don't remember eating blue crab now we'd go fishing and they'd have soft shell blue crab, which I guess that's what blue crab is because you deep fry the whole thing. But I don't remember actually eating any while I was there, so I have to try that. Got a Weber Smoky Joe to cook with. I got a Weber Smoky Joe to cook it when it finally to do it because I don't want to cook it myself. Yeah, that's the other thing. Now, granted, you know I got plenty of grills to choose from, but I have heard I think Harry Sue specifically talk about if you're going to cook seafood, you might want a dedicated grill to it because it's hard to get that out of. And if there's any truth to that at all, a ceramic would definitely be the one that would soak it up the most. So that's probably a solid plan there. Backyard life, solid plan. Be up at Will and Cabela's on Saturday, Memorial Day, handing out samples out front. Well, that's cool, Sean. Yeah, I haven't been to that Cabela's for a while, but you're gonna be up there barbecuing out front, or soft shells a different time of year. They're shedding the shells when they're soft. Oh, I didn't know that, David. Thanks for the channel, doing a great job. Keep it up. Have a great. Hey, Greg. Thanks. I appreciate that, man. You have a good one too. Huh. That's interesting, Sean. That's cool. Is it just you, or is there going to be like other KCBSers up there? That sounds really cool. I mean, I'm sure Cabela's loves it because who's not going to want to come in there after they smell delicious barbecue out front? Hmm. Yeah, David, it's something I thought about for a while, but I wasn't sure if anybody really. I don't know. I didn't know if you guys had questions or what, but I don't know. It seemed like a good idea to just hang out for a little bit longer tonight if anybody wanted to talk about it, anything, or because this is definitely something I feel like I like it when other guys do it. I'll say it like that. Other YouTubers do their whole live thing and you get to ask them whatever questions. So I definitely wanted to take part of that and give people an opportunity. It's still kind of weird to me that people actually care what I would say about barbecue. So, but yeah, it's cool to hang out. Yeah, that's really cool, Sean. Oh, Sean, I think I saw that. I thought they were doing that at like Ace Hardware stores, though. What cookers do I have now? So technically, now in the arsenal, there are two Weber Smoky Mountain 22s. There is still an Weber Kettle 22 that I've been meaning to hand off, but it just still lives here for some reason. Um, there are two Akorns, one with a cart and one's freestanding. We have the 26-inch Weber Kettle with the slow and sear in it, and we have the Char Griller offset cooker, and we've got a mystery cooker coming shortly. Oh, I think you lost me for a second there. Let's see if I come back. Hold on. There we go. Sorry. So yeah, so Weber 22, two Smoky Mountain 22s, two Akorns, one Weber 26-inch, the slow and sear, the Char Griller offset, and I've got another sneaky one coming. Here's a hint. I've cooked on it or something like it before. It likes water. Say it like that. S&S Kamado. You know, Dennis, you know how we just talked about your wife dealing with the fact that you have a problem? Let's just say we haven't talked about that yet. Yeah, Sean. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Um, Kettle with the slow and sear of the Akorn. Man, it it really depends. Really depends. Um, yeah, Sean, don't be too jealous. It's not like a sponsored thing. It's gonna be out of pocket, but we'll talk about that in a second. First off, the Kettle with slow and sear of the Akorn. So if you want to put in the time and learn, because there's a steeper learning curve. The kettle's easy. The kettle is super easy, and the slow and sear makes it that much easier. So I tell people, look, if you don't really feel like learning too much about it, you want something that's more set it and forget it, more forgiving, go with the kettle and slow and sear. You know, any kettle and slow and sear. Actually, slow and sear actually fits in an Akorn too, if you didn't know it. Or but if you want to do the kamado thing, if you want to learn to smoke, if you want something that can um, do kamado things, go the Akorn all day. If you want to do high temp stuff, go with the Akorn. So so yeah, that Myron Mixon video is still like my most watched video every single month. Um, I sent I sent David Mixon a text one day. I was like, dude, they watch this all the time on my channel. You need to put out more content. Like, I'm not saying you need me to put out content. I'm saying you need to go put out content on your video or on your cookers. People want to see these Myron Mixon cookers. But that H2O just cooks so differently than everything else I've ever used. It was really ridiculous. And so I kind of been fanboying over it for a long time. So we'll have one of those or you know something in that family uh, before it's all over. Yeah, Sean. Chris has that gravity, and that gravity is a great cooker. Absolutely solid. Like I set the guru on it, and I never saw the needle move. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I have charcoal cookers that are pretty solid already, or the fact that H2O just cooks a little different. I just want to play with it. Thanks for the contest. Great chatting with you. Cheers and good night. Hey, brother. Chris, have a good one, man. Appreciate you coming out. But yeah. Yeah, that Myron mixed H2O is just, it's a wild thing. It's different. It works super great. It set the bark like in half the time. Just ridiculous all the way around. And whenever we'll see how this competition season goes. We'll see if we get to go back to the Jack and get some redemption. But if we move up, or if we go back to the Jack, we'll probably have a bigger smoker in tow with us whenever we head that direction. Well, guys, it's 9:56. It's almost 10. So I appreciate everybody coming out to hang out. I had a good time answering questions. Um, if you guys enjoyed this, let me know. We can do it more often if you want to. Um, but yeah, I think I'm going to call tonight. Got work tomorrow. Got a busy week all the way around. So I got to get to bed because I'm already up past my bedtime. So thanks for coming out again. And yeah, just appreciate all the support. Appreciate everybody coming out. Until next time, y'all take it easy.